Rapper YNW Melly hopes that a new lawsuit filed on his behalf gets him out of prison. The lawsuit accuses the Broward Sheriff's Office of cruel treatment and violating his constitutional rights. The rapper, whose real name is Jamel Demons, is accused of murdering two of his childhood friends back in 2018. Now, he hasn't been able to see or speak to any of his family members for the last 3 years, according to the lawsuit, along with experiencing, quote, debilitating isolation. The double murder retrial date has been set for September 2025 after a mistrial last summer.
Cloudy world. And hey man, we talking about today that YNW Melly needs answers. So if y'all don't know, YNW Melly just accuses the Broward Sheriff Office of cruel treatment, malpractice, and seeks prison release in his new lawsuit. So if y'all don't know, Melly has basically been in limbo for the last 3 to nearly 5 years. The rapper has not been able to see or even speak with any family in 3 years and has been experiencing debilitating isolation, the suit claims. As we know, Melly has lost nearly over 100 pounds. He's very, very weak in that system, and seeing what they're doing to him is really saddening. And we're gonna break down what's going on and explain why under these trials and under what this qualifies as and is under the Constitution as, this should be a release under cruel and unusual punishment. So YNW Melly returned to court in Broward County on Monday, where a judge sat and set a date for his double trial that should be retried now. Now, YNW Melly is seeking immediate release from prison in a new lawsuit because the Broward Sheriff Office has a long and true history of cruel treatment and violating constitutional rights. Now, we can even go to a few local and recent cases with different rappers. We can talk about Polo G's issue, where the Broward County was tracking him for nearly through county lines through Miami, where he was arrested and had to deal with that issue. We can talk about Broward even with this recent arrest and indictment or potential indictment of Lil Durk. But YNW Melly's attorney, Michael PZ Jr., held a news conference to address and discuss the lawsuit on Monday morning. Now, the rapper, whose real name is Jamel Demons, is accused of handling two of his childhood friends, Chris YNW Juvie Thomas and Anthony YNW Sack Chaser Williams, in a 2018 after a late night recording session that made it look like it was a drive-by, allegedly. Now, I believe Melly's innocent. I believe there's enough information in the case to show that he's innocent, and I believe the prosecution has to prove a lot of things for people to have a lot of educated assumptions to believe anything different. But as we know, with a lot of these high-profile cases, especially many where they are Black Americans, these cases get a little bit wishy-washy, and they can go two ways. They can go like YNW, or they can go like Young Thug, or we even saw recently with Pee Wee Longway, who just received 12 years for about a half pound of marijuana. Now, as you see, the justice system can be very frustrating. A case that would have gotten someone 3 months probation has just gotten Pee Wee Longway nearly 12 years after he beat most of the indictments that he was accused of. It can also go the Melly route, where they keep you in limbo and kind of drain your force away until you take whatever plea they give you. But I would not do that if I was in this case. And then you have the Durk route, whereas they're giving you no penalty, no plea. They're giving you no route or opportunity to be out of your situation. They're waiting for you to crumble so that what they've done justifies the means. Now, as we already know, Demons has not been able to see or speak with any family in several years and has been experiencing debilitating isolation. His team claims that the Broward Sheriff Office created a lot of unrealistic restrictions and interfered with the ability of his attorneys to interact with him. Now, the lawsuit states that his cruel treatment by the Broward detention authorities warrants his immediate release from pretrial detention, since the detaining authorities have shown a callous, malicious, and clear disregard for his human dignity and right to counsel, they stated. Now, Mr. Demons was in court in Broward County back in July, where a judge set a date for his double retrial, months after his retrial was placed on hold. Now, Judge Martin Fain set a new trial date of September 10th, and in terms of more recent tampering, he set a pretrial meeting for December 5th, 2024. This is the first trial against Melly, which ended from a mistrial last summer. Now, as we're seeing, they're saying that we're having to wait 2 years after the mistrial to begin this case. That's going to put it almost at nearly 6 years. That will be the longest and has been the longest in history. I completely agree that the defense is right. He needs to be released at this moment immediately, at the very least until his next trial is done, as keeping someone who hasn't been proven guilty or innocent in for another year, going on 6 years, is nearly a quarter of their entire life spent in pre-incarceration. on maximum security, which means that they're being treated worse than literally federal indicted criminals. So y'all gotta understand, from a lawyer's perspective, this man Melly has every right to be able to be out of prison right now, at the very least until his trial starts. Now, anyone that says different doesn't understand law, bro, because they're not suing for him being tried for the allegations against him wrongfully harming his two friends, which again looks very incorrect and looks as if he'll walk on that, because there is no evidence and it is very clear that Mr. DeMons has not and will not do those things to his friends. But YNW Melly is also suing for his immediate release because of that treatment, as they have been treating him and removing and basically acting as if they know beyond a reasonable doubt, which is impossible. His team says he's been in isolation for 3 years specifically and has had no family contact. And the Broward Sheriff's Office has openly restricted his access to legal support, meaning that he has barely any conversations with his actual lawyers. They're treating this man worse than people who have done openly terrible things in Broward County, by the way. So YNW Melly files this lawsuit, and everyone's talking about it because the rapper's lawyers insist he's being illegally detained under conditions that violate the 1st, 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments they've stated. And Melly has been locked up since February of 2019. February of 2019. It has already been nearly 6 years fighting this trial, and there's been no convictions. None. How does the Broward County Sheriff's Office not feel embarrassed at this point, man? His first trial ended last July, so they made him wait 4 years since then. Now they're gonna make him wait another 2 years. They want to see this young man be mentally drained until he cannot move anymore. This is not the Broward County's first time doing this. This is not the state's first time doing this with anyone of any potential high scale or main attention news story that has to deal with them handling serious charges. Now, if I was young Mr. Melly, Mr. DeMons, I would try to stay strong, because this is a clear showing that the state has next to nothing on you and that they are doing this intentionally. The state would not be moving intentionally like this if this was an open and shut case. They've never moved like this with an intentional open and shut case. Why? Because if they could prove it and he could be convicted, they wouldn't waste their time doing this petty foolishness right now. And they know that. Now, this is really sad, man, because I remember the last time that Melly had dropped a single when he was still released was, I believe, November 18th back in 2019. It was the Melly versus Melvin tape. An amazing tape. It was something that I really enjoyed. And it's really frustrating, bro, because I saw this news with Thug, and to me, I'm very, very happy that the defense moved and acted in this way, because you have to move fast. You just saw a high profile case with another well-known rapper who was blown up at the same time as Mr. DeMons. You have to use this case as leverage, because this case, now that it is done, can be legally referenced. And this can be legally referenced for multiple reasons. 1, separating an individual from a large-scale RICO case. 2, getting all that foolishness that is not involved with the actual case out of information. And 3, making sure that the lawyer and those that are in place are able to fight the case with a fair and proper judge. We've seen time again where the first judge with the Young Thug case was being very improper and basically arrested Brian Steele, his lawyer. It was an entire circus. And the second judge, well, they were way, way better. And as we see, they saw the case from a very fair and unbiased perspective. Many people feel like Thug got off very freely, and I'm one of those people. But 20 years probation is realistically 3 to 5 years of hard focused probation that will be monitored, and a godsend plea from your lawyer in about 2 to 4 years for them to release the long-term probation and do community time served. I see the vision that Mr. Thugger is doing right now, and y'all should too. But Cloudy World, and let me know what y'all think about Mr. DeMons. I'm a big fan of Melly, and I believe that he has a strong case, and I believe that anyone who thinks this is open and shut clearly hasn't been here the last same 5 years as I have, and I will continue to see his family fight the good fight. Cloudy World, let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and we gone.